Hello, dear humanity. Welcome to Human Thesaurus Podcast. I'm your host slash inspirited Wish Ronquillo Peacock. Justin brings over 20 years of management and high-tech experience in areas ranging from research and development engineering, product management, large-scale sound systems, mobile and web application deployment, and interactive multimedia installation technologies. That's very long. He patented taking Google Street View underwater. He once taught a robot to play a musical instrument, and another time he taught a humanoid robot how to sing. He is passionate about driving positive change through technology and enjoys colliding the worlds of technology and music to create new experiences. Apart from that, he's an excellent public speaker and he just never runs out of ideas. I met Justin at a tech and music conference here in Singapore. Probably that was 2010, if I could remember correctly. He was presenting. He was from Google at that time. And I was just so enamored the way he presented with an audio visual, highly elaborate, two laptops playing in the background and with music. And it's really an immersive experience for me. And I was like, I've got to know this guy. So I just, after that, he was swarmed by people. And at some point I was like, I'm just going to squeeze in there and just introduce myself. And since then, we party, we drink a lot together, and we just combine ideas a lot. And I always feel that we mesh together because he's got this like super huge, big ideas. And then I like to put them on paper, like in a practical mode, like how to execute them. So at some point, we worked together in my last job. So he's the reason why I moved to Australia, because we worked together there and it was a phenomenal time together. So my synonyms for him are cookie jar as a noun, estimating as a verb, and kinetic as an adjective. So I would like us to welcome Justin Baird.
So hi, my name is Justin. So same as the words technology as a noun, innovate as a verb, and creative as an adjective. I like the word tesseract. I dislike the word ego.
Okay, a lot of our listeners probably would be curious, what's Tesseract?
So it is an interesting word. It's actually hard to describe a little bit because, you know, as humans, we kind of are used to things in 2 dimensions and 3 dimensions. So, you know, like let's say you see a picture, you're looking at a 2-dimensional image. If you look at a sculpture, you're looking at, you know, a 3-dimensional object, as you know, as well as the world around us. But a tesseract is the same thing as a cube, except it's in 4 dimensions. So it's not something that we can see, and it's not necessarily something that we can understand with our senses. But you know, it's a quite interesting concept. So I've always just really liked that as an idea. You know, we live in 3 dimensions, but what could we do if we could process 4 dimensions? And you know, technology allows us to play with those type of things these days.
Right, that's right. I love the concept as well of 4-dimensional. So that's why I know the word. But yeah, we should be using it a lot. And knowing you, there should be more behind why you use that as your favorite word.
Yes,
like, what's going on with you? Like, you always have so many things going on. But can we catch up on some of them? Can you share some with me?
Yeah, sure, of course. So I guess you know, I kind of have, I guess perhaps I would describe a multitasking kind of life, right? So I really enjoy exercise and being outside and doing gym stuff and all that. I also really enjoy the kind of work I do kind of in more the professional space, so working with technology and helping large companies and all that kind of stuff. But I also have this, huge passion for bringing music and technology, creativity together, because I just love that idea of being able to use technology to create positive change. So I think that's just all those different areas happening at the same time. There is a big and interesting world happening these days with all the stuff happening with, blockchain and all this, but especially with NFTs. So some of the things that I'm looking at now is like the generation of, I'm looking at actually how to generate artwork in 4 dimensions.
Right.
And then imagine an artwork in 4 dimensions that then you can extract views of in 3 dimensions or 2 dimensions. So there's some interesting things happening there with some of my collaborators with regards to some of the AI work that we're developing just now.
Wow. So what you're saying?
I'm excited about that.
Yes. I'm just gonna cut because you have a lot like going on, right? What would be the 4th dimension? Like, how are you gonna grasp the 4th? Like 3 dimensions, and then the 4th is what type of sense in our system that will kind of spark or get aroused by, for the lack of better word, with a 4th dimension.
So I guess what I'm suggesting is, so let's say, if you wanted to create like an artificial intelligence system, or if you wanted to create something that could produce artwork, like, people are doing that today. But a lot of times people would kind of just say, well, you're just using a computer to replace humans. And my thought on this is that I don't want to create a system that's just going to replace what a human could do. I want to create a system that can do something that humans can't do. So, for example, humans are not able to generate art in 4 dimensions. And so what I'm suggesting is, imagine, you could imagine the parallel of this is to say, I've got a camera and I'm standing in front of a statue that's been, an artist has created a statue. I say, wow, this is really amazing. And I take a picture of the statue as an image. And I can take that away with me, and I can share that with people. I could show you a picture that I took of that statue and say, hey, Wish, check out the statue. It's really cool. It's nothing like what you would see if you were there in person, because you yourself would be able to see it and walk around it in 3 dimensions. So imagine that what this would do is you would create an artwork in 4 dimensions, and the only way that humans would be able to properly see this is either by taking a 3-dimensional picture of that, or a 2-dimensional picture of that. And you could get different experiences of that artwork based upon which dimensions you're observing it through.
Right. Is it going to be in parallel with metaverse?
Oh, it's not so specifically tied to metaverse in that regard, but I think that, for example, if you wanted to see this digital artwork in the metaverse, then you'd be looking at it rendered into 3 dimensions. Right. So the metaverse is kind of limited to 3-dimensional navigation.
Wow. Cool.
Anyhow, so I'm just on this new idea and really excited about doing something with it. So that's been consuming me in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, you never run out of ideas. Justin and I were just hanging out a few days ago, and we were playing Cards Against Humanity, and a lot of ideas even came out of there. Right? I mean, you never run out of ideas.
I've never played that. I've actually never played that game before, so it was very entertaining. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, you have the beginner's luck, for sake.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
But yes. So I'm enjoying that kind of stuff, and I think also just being here in Singapore, I feel like there's just a ton of opportunities. I mean, certainly COVID is stopping a lot of different things from happening, but at the same time, I feel like I'm just finding a way to be optimistic and thrive within the environment that I'm in at the moment. So, so that's been interesting as well to make that happen too.
Yeah. Just the backgrounder, Justin moved to Singapore 2020. He's from Australia. So how is it going? Because when you went here at the height of the pandemic, right? And then you started
Yeah.
working for DHL. And how did that go? Like from that time till now, where do you think you are being, uprooted from all the comforts that you had before?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like it's been a really great experience. I think, first of all, I mean, I've been to Singapore many times before,
Hmm.
just never really lived here, and so the kind of experience of coming to Singapore was not necessarily a surprise. But just like when you live someplace for the first time, you discover all different types of things. You get much more into the culture and kind of what's happening around you.
Yeah.
For example, I love cycling, and the whole time that I would come to Singapore, I never cycled down the East Coast.
Right.
And so now I've done that, of course, many times and discovered that in the process. So that's been fun. When I came to Singapore, it was kind of in the peak of it was actually right after the circuit breaker finished.
Right.
So I was in a hotel room for 2 weeks, but I came to that hotel room with musical instruments, with my bike. So I had my bicycle on like a trainer, so I could cycle looking out the window, all that kind of stuff. So even though I was in the hotel room for 2 weeks, I actually never turned the television on the whole time.
Wow.
I was there. Well, so I got out of the hotel after a couple of weeks, and kind of got into society, so to speak, here. And yeah, so that was really interesting. So that's when I kind of discovered I was living pretty close to the East Coast park there, and kind of got into doing all that. And DHL was an interesting experience. So I was here, kind of running an innovation center that was based here in Singapore, as well as kind of being the head of innovation for Asia Pacific. So lots of interesting things happening there, and getting into kind of a new business and new opportunities. And that was all going, really great. And then actually I wasn't looking for a new role or anything, but a friend of a friend referred me into Microsoft for some new roles that were happening. And I kind of couldn't say no to that. So I've kind of taken on this new role as the Chief Technology Officer for Microsoft here in Singapore. So that's been really exciting. And I've actually now just been doing that for about the last 5 months.
That's fantastic.
So that's been very exciting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think one of the big things for me is like I certainly love what I'm doing with all of that, but I think also I've always been kind of a bit more of, I guess, maybe a networker, like,
Yes.
meeting people in all different areas. So not necessarily just focusing on, meeting people in the technology space, but always kind of getting out and doing lots of different things. So for example, I play in 2 different music groups. One's kind of more of a jazz group, so a bit more technical music, and then another one which is more of like a bar band. So yeah, I'm excited about that kind of stuff, and just through the musical connections and my gym and work and all of these things, it's just great to kind of expand and meet a lot of people here, and and always just be doing lots of interesting, fun things.
So for your jazz band, is it kind of the same when you were in Sydney? Kind of same vibe, same kind of music that you play?
So I think like people that weren't musicians would probably say, yeah, it's kind of similar. But the group that I'm working with here is, a lot more, let's say, technical. So we do a lot of alternative time signatures. Most music is like, 4 beats per measure. And we'll do music which has got, more beats or different syncopations, different rhythms, that kind of stuff.
So it's a little bit more like a step up because of the technicality. So that's what's challenging about jazz, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more technical. And, the joke is that, when you go see a jazz group, there's more people on stage than there are in the audience. Because the people that are playing the music probably appreciate it more than the audience appreciates it.
Yeah.
but no, I think that the jazz scene here in Singapore, even though it's small, it's actually really it's a pretty strong community, which is nice. So I've had the opportunity also. So I mean, as you mentioned in my introduction, I've got a background in audio engineering and worked in the professional audio space for a long time. So I've actually had the chance to go to the Esplanade and mix a couple shows, both inside the Esplanade as well as at the outdoor stage. So I've met a lot of musicians through that kind of work as well.
Wow. So the other band, what do you normally play? And can you play nowadays, like in public, or is it allowed?
Yeah. So the restrictions are supposedly being relaxed like this month in February.
Oh, yes.
So hopefully we'll be able to actually start playing out some more. But right now we're rehearsing and putting together, full show kind of thing.
Wow.
So I rehearse with one group down at a recording studio in Juchiat, and then the other group in Chinatown.
Wow.
And what's nice is the Chinatown space. It's like, have you ever heard of Tiny Desk, like
Yes.
the NPR radio?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do this thing we call Tiny Gig. So it's our recording studio area, the rehearsal studio area, and then we have one big couch that 4 people can sit on.
Wow.
So we have a very small audience, but having a small audience of a couple people makes a big difference in the way you perform. So it's good. It's good practice.
Like how?
Well, I mean, when you've got people there, you can't just stop.
Right.
And go, oh, let's try that again. Or like, oh, that's messed up. It's like the show must go on. So it's a very different kind of way of, doing stuff.
What type of music?
Again, the one where we can do the tiny gig stuff is the jazz group.
Oh, okay.
But then the other group, we're just rehearsing now. There's a couple bars and clubs that we've got some gigs already kind of getting lined up at. And that's kind of like we're doing a few cover songs, but then also original stuff. So it should be exciting to do that as well.
What type of music? Oh, so the other one is jazz.
So kind of like danceable, approachable, like, kind of more mainstream pop style. But I wouldn't say pop, sorry. I should say more like funk.
Cool.
So probably not like R&B funk kind of style.
Okay. Wow.
Like the guy has a voice that's kind of a bit more like Stevie Wonder kind of style.
Oh, really? Mm.
Yeah. Then so it's not like, hard rock or anything. There's not a lot of heavy metal distortion or anything. more stuff that people would like to hear.
Right. Remember that time that we have a band together?
Yeah. That's right. In Chicago.
Oh God. That was one of the funnest things ever.
That was.
Yeah. Oh God.
That was, we put a band together. We should talk about that. That's the kind of stuff that we would do together, right?
Yes.
I would say, hey, Wish, I want to get like everyone together for this thing. And so we were going to like this company offsite with like people coming from all over the planet. And so I literally, we said, hey, let's put a band together and put on a show or something. And, you helped make that whole thing happen. And we ended up with a keyboard player from the UK, a drummer from Amsterdam, singers from India, and somewhere else,
Ireland,
in Europe, right? Germany or something, and then
US,
from the US
yeah,
and then from the Philippines, guitarist from the Philippines.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's not pro, but it's fantastic to just get this together.
A lot more pro than I think anybody would have expected. That's right. Yeah.
But we hacked it too. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, that's the best part, right? It's like live improvisation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we have a limo.
Yeah, and
like a real
that's
rock
right.
star.
Everything's better when you have a bottle of Jack Daniels in a limo. That makes you feel like a rock
I
star.
know you gave me monkey shoulders, like a bottle of monkey shoulders somewhere along that time, and
yeah, that's right.
But I was so phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, I think our adventures together are just over the top crazy, like all the ups and downs of that gig. I mean, it's not a gig, but I'm just gonna call it a gig because it's more positive for the both of us in our
for sure.
in our past job together.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of meaningful experiences, and it just really justifies like how your brain works and how I could kind of understand and structure it, because you're crazy, batshit crazy with ideas. And then I am too, but mine is a little bit more pensive than yours. You're more free. Like free, let's just put it out there as crazy as it is. And then for me, it's like, oh, how am I going to structure this? There are a few times that I have to shout at Justin because he's got this. He would enter the office. It's like, hey, I've got a new idea. This is what we're gonna do. Blah 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 blah. And then for me, logistics, strategies, logistics. It's like, what am I gonna do? What are we gonna do this? But in the end, we do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think like, lots of times, people would ask me, it's like, so how do you try to make these things happen, whatever. And I just kind of, we used to say this as well, is that it takes, two no's or one yes. In other words, if somebody says no the first time, you don't just say, okay, no. You got to try again or figure out a different way to do it. Like, the project that we worked on together about this robot that was playing this musical instrument. Like, I mean, that project got canceled at least 6 times,
Yes.
I think, as we were making it happen. We still made it happen.
Yeah.
So I think that's a lot of like, if you have the ambition to make things happen, then it's worth following your whatever's guiding you to do the things that are going to be successful for
Absolutely.
you. Yeah.
There's some kind of tenacity as well that is part of it, and the energy that you're feeding on, because I think when you built this team in Australia, you really handpicked the people which is a plus, because not everybody can do that as a leader. Sometimes you just have this leftover people that you just have to adopt when you get hired. But I think you handpick the right people, who the people you want to work with. And there's an energy there as well, because all of us believed in your vision. So every time we get knocked down by the lack of budget or belief, or really just plain politics, we just have to push through. So I think we all picked up a very good value at the end of the day, getting out of there because of politics. But what we've created there was just phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think also like, bringing the right people together. And then I think having a team that believes in each other, and also kind of, I guess it's a good thing for everyone to just know what people's, thoughts and plans are. And I think that was a big piece of like, we talk about a team and managing the team, but like we didn't manage it like that, right? We were more like, everyone was the same, right? I might have had to sign off some papers or something, or sign people's vacation or whatever. But other than that, everyone had just, everyone had a seat at the round table. Right?
That's right.
And I think that was one of the things people feel like they've got that gives people the strength and ambition to do things, So I think that's always the way that I like to try to create teams, whether it's a small startup or whether it's in a big company. If you can create that type of environment, everyone starts to thrive. Yeah.
That's right. You're actually making me realize something right now. I've realized so many things about that throughout the years, but you're making me realize one thing as well. I think that's why our team was so terrifying, because it's like a utopia in a corporate world. If you find something completely different, like people really working together, and people are useful, and people are really making it happen, and really having that gel, that strength together. I think it was terrifying for a lot of traditionalists who's been in that circle for quite some time. Don't you think?
Yeah. Very true. Very true. Well, and in situations like that, you also have to realize that we are the oil in the water. And so you've got to, I guess, be careful of not to offend anybody too much, but then also try to achieve a vision and a goal. And so I think that's why, like, we had such a good time for a duration until, the politics at a different level took over, right? So, yeah, it was great while it lasted, I think.
Yes, totally. I mean, no regrets there. Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay. So much energy that you exude all the time. What do you do when you're idle? Like, do you even have an idle time at all?
I mean, I guess sleeping is idle.
How long do you sleep?
I actually sleep very well.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, I can't say that every day, just because, having so many different activities and stuff, I'll end up sacrificing a couple hours of sleep here or there. But, For example, last night I can tell you I slept for. I'll tell you
Mm.
exactly. I slept for.
He's looking at his watch.
My Whoop band, the
Oh,
WHOOP Whoop band. I slept for 8 minutes.
8 minutes?
8 hours and 8 hours and 5 minutes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's really good.
But I would say I usually don't get that every day. So that's probably a false advertisement that I said I do that. I probably get closer to 7 each day. But yeah, my downtime. What I would do in my downtime, I'd probably be playing some music or writing a document about something or, stuff like this. I guess, I do like to relax and I enjoy relaxing. So it's not like I'm a crazy workaholic that wants to work all the time. I enjoy the kind of social aspect of things and everything
Yes.
too. But yeah, I think on a given day, I'll probably be working on something, just pushing projects along. And I think that that's the way that I realize that I work the most efficiently. Lots of times people say don't multitask because you'll not get anything done. And I do agree with that. But at the same time, I don't necessarily multitask, but I'll spend a little bit of time on this thing, and then I'll spend a little bit of time on this thing, a little bit of time on this thing. And eventually over time, all of those things, progress.
Yeah. So I think it only works for a certain type of people because I'm the same. Like I love doing multiple things at the same time, hacking them away pretty much. And then I feel like we feel more productive that way because you're catering to different sides of your brain or different parts of your imagination. If you're just gonna, if I focus on one, I tend to feel bored and demotivated. It's like, ugh, this is...
Yeah, after a certain amount of time, for sure. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, and I think that that's a good way to think about things as well. It's like, sometimes, and I've tried to do this in some cases. Sometimes it's not possible, but again, if you try to do it, then it happens most of the time, maybe not all the time. But you try to basically create make time and meeting time. So if you've got to sit and you're stuck on like Zoom calls all day or whatever it might be, you've got to try to find some time where you literally just block out your calendar and you've got time to do something. So I kind of call that make time. And, they do say ideally if you had 90 minutes, say, of non-distracted time, then you get a lot more done in that time than you would if you had that chopped up into 30-minute pieces throughout the day.
Yeah. I remember sometimes you're like, okay, nobody disturbs me for 90 minutes. I'm going to finish a presentation. Yeah. Got it. That's really cool. What's in store for you? Like, you have a lot of projects and a lot of them I know. And so apart from Microsoft, right? And I'm sure it's already a huge enough thing that's happening with you. But what else is in store with you this year? Yeah,
well, so that's the, I think kind of talking about what we were just discussing a little bit earlier, this thing about the Tesseract concept. I'm actually working on that. I've made a pretty significant commitment to that.
Nice.
And I'm really going to spend a lot of time focusing on that. I feel like this Tesseract project is something that comes from an idea that I had probably over 2 years ago now. And I think all the moving parts have kind of finally come together. Like there's a university researcher who I was working with on another project, and he's recently moved from one university to another. And in that circumstance, we've reconnected, and he's now in a position to be able to help create some of the underlying tech that we need for this thing to work. And so, yeah, we're like, I mean, this is brand new, hot off the press. Like I literally spoke to him for the first time in years, a week ago. And then it's all just happening now. So it's actually quite interesting. So yeah. And I'm looking forward to really making that a reality. And, it's, as I mentioned, this is a bit in the kind of art space. I mean, music is involved, but it's also kind of an art thing. So there's a really cool program out of the National Gallery here in Singapore called the Y Lab, like the letter Y Lab. And I'm going to probably be working with them on this as well. So I know the guys over there, so I'm planning on, trying to make this happen and actually get this thing as an installation in the National Gallery for testing purposes. So we'll see. We'll see what might happen. But that's my goal this year. I think that's my goal outside of my other projects and passions and hobbies.
Wow.
Is to make this thing happen.
I'll keep my fingers crossed because I would like to witness that too. And speaking of AI, let's just go there because I just saw an article just recently saying that AI is not in fashion anymore. And I'm kind of like annoyed by that because that's a little bit ignorant on that end. But what do you think about that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that most technologies go through that. They go through kind of like this peak of inflated expectations, and then people kind of lose interest. It's the same type of thing that happens on a different time scale with like, a news story or something is news for a day or two, but then people kind of forget about it. So, maybe it's different lengths of memory, but it's almost like people just kind of get bored of things after a while. So, I think what's really happening is that AI is now becoming practical. And we are seeing practical applications of AI all over the place.
Right.
And these are what we might call relatively basic or simple AI, but it's actually starting to make some commercial sense for companies to be implementing these things. And I think a lot of people might not think that they're that that they don't touch AI on a daily basis, but a lot of the things that people are doing online, a lot of the things that people are working with, or the algorithms they might not even realize they're using or touching, are actually using AI. Yeah. So it's kind of ubiquitous at a certain level, and then I think what we'll see is that as AI gets more effective. When self-driving cars, for example, are a thing that we see commonly on the road, people will be like, oh, AI is kind of coming back again. So I think it's just like that. It's just people had been driving it kind of as a fad and what's happening with it and everything. And I think we'll see that come back again.
Yeah, I still see a danger. Yeah. I think we're a big proponent of that responsible AI. And I'm still on a close watch on that part because it's still very dangerous. And we were talking about it, right? Just last weekend about what will be the third or fourth World War be like.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Very true. And a lot of that could be effectively fought virtually, right? With cyber attacks and all the kind of things that happen along those lines as well. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I think we've all got to be very careful about the way that AI is managed, but there's maybe the thing that people are talking a little bit more about now because there's been a lot more of a progression there is with quantum computing.
Yes.
So, for example, right now, all of the encryption algorithms that are used for all of the sensitive information being transferred around the internet and people using the bank online and all this kind of stuff. So they basically say that quantum computers are going to be so powerful that they could just decrypt all of those messages, all those packets, instantly. Yeah. So, maybe not so specifically thinking AI, but what's the power of the quantum computer. And I had the opportunity myself actually to run some experiments on Honeywell's quantum computer. I know a little bit about the space. I'm certainly not an expert and I don't know the best way to program algorithms into these machines. But one of the really interesting things that was just announced like a week ago was that, you look at quantum computers now and they're these crazy things with lasers and vacuums and all this kind of stuff. I don't mean robot vacuums. I mean like vacuums of no air particles. Yes. These things only operate in, the vacuum of space, we should say, right? Not the vacuum of Dyson. And they just announced that they've now been able to create qubits. Like a qubit is a quantum, the basis of the quantum computer, and they can do that in silicon now.
Seriously,
using the same type of processors. What? Yeah. The main reason they haven't been able to do it in silicon is because of the error. So the error rates. And that's actually still the problem with quantum computers. It's still high, isn't it? There's a lot of errors, But they're literally saying now they can get the error rates down to a point where you could make qubits in silicon.
Oh my gosh.
That's going to really have a big impact, over time. So yeah, I think that might be what people are thinking of more for the future now. It's like, what's the world going to be like when anyone in the world can just decrypt anything? So we need other solutions for that.
That's going to be another industry that's going to come out. Like, I suppose, like, you create these solutions, it will have problem, then it will create more businesses to solve those problems for those new solutions, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. But so, for example, like, they talked about, like, like trying to not allow North Korea to buy like uranium or plutonium, from the black market or something. Like, those are the kind of Cold War style, scenarios, like who's going to have the nuclear weapons. These days, I think that that's the next stage, is that the technologies behind not only AI, but literally quantum computers, giving quantum computers in the wrong hands could be just as much a problem as having nuclear warheads in the wrong hands.
I agree. So that's, for me, I'm excited because I think it will really create a different types of jobs and way of thinking. So that's the exciting part. Yeah. Although, yes, there's always a massive danger. So it will be great to keep on seeing. I think there are new little NGOs popping out there for making sure that all of these new technologies are responsible enough or has enough accountability or kind of legality to them on where you draw the line.
Yeah, and there's a lot of responsible AI, and most larger corporations, the Googles and Microsofts and everyone of the world have kind of signed up to this and saying yes, that we should really only produce responsible systems. And when they say responsible AI, it means more than just like the AI not being too smart or making crazy decisions. It's more like responsible AI means that we're not just going to use AI to replace everyone's jobs as well. So it's kind of like there's cultural aspects as well as the actual technology aspects.
Absolutely. But touching on that as well, on the humanity side, that AI is supporting, which is a good way of putting it. You were talking about a lot of bias, right? Like, we've seen how much biased AI could be, and a lot of people of color are still fighting for this because it's still not enough. Like, bigger companies are still not enough. You're part of that big company too. So where are we in terms of these like biases in data? Like, where are we going from here onwards?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think for anybody listening, it's worth kind of just giving a little bit of a kind of
context,
a background on kind of context. Yeah, because as an example, there was a project done, a few years ago now, which was like an AI beauty contest. So the AI beauty contest was, and this was like a whole bunch of different research groups in universities and other areas, and what they were doing was training AI based upon the available data on the internet. And so if you think about the available data on the internet, a lot of it is not fully representative of all, races and cultures around the world. Right now with the internet, there's still around, 2 to 3 billion people that don't have regular access to the internet. And a lot of that is equatorial countries, as well as a lot of Africa. And so there's actually not as large, like if you look at the overall corpus of publicly available images online, there's actually a lot less pictures of people with darker skin in those pictures. So the AIs, if they're just left to train themselves, would use things like, what's the correlation between all of the various principles. So I think, as you might know, like they they kind of say symmetry of the face is something that is a strong indicator of beauty, so to speak. If your face is more symmetrical than non-symmetrical. Right. But then the AIs would basically train, the machines would learn based upon the available data. So if you just allowed it to consume all of the publicly available images, you would get a bias towards lighter skinned people. You could filter that down to countries and different things like that and remove some of it. But the point of the whole exercise was to say, well, look, if we if we don't have the proper hygiene on our data sets, then we can actually create a biased machine. And this is an example of doing that, of course, on skin color and beauty and everything. You could have a biased machine based upon not having enough data, or a data set that was not representative of what was really happening. Yeah. So, those are the type of things that you need to be responsible with when it comes to AI and the systems and things that are put together.
Yeah, but where are we right now? Like, where are these big companies right now?
The big companies, I think, are already in line with a lot of this. Like, there's already a lot of discussion and support for these type of things. And I mean, there's even larger companies that do work for other companies, like all of the management consulting firms and everybody else that are also kind of signed up to the same type of scenario.
Yes.
But I think, when it's just also when we say responsible AI, it's not just about having not having bias when it comes to, people and that type of stuff. It's also an important factor for making sure that you actually create systems that model the world correctly, right? So like data sets and all those type of things. So I think there's a lot to do with we could call it data hygiene, to make sure that such systems are actually well representing the information that's available. So yeah, I think larger companies are doing that. I think a lot of startups and everybody that's kind of using lots of these kind of cloud-based systems, I think a lot of that is it going in a really good direction from a kind of corporate space. It's really just a matter of, what happens if these technologies are kind of getting into the wrong hands and what the implications of that would be.
Right. It's a never-ending task to keep a watch of all of these. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So in closing, what's the word or a phrase you can impart to our listeners moving forward? And can you expound on that?
I'd say I think it's something that is true in almost all cases, which is that success only comes before work in the dictionary.
Yes, yes.
And I think that's something that I always think about is, as you said earlier, I've got all these ideas and I'm always talking about ideas and everything. Ideas are not anything. Ideas are not valuable if you don't get the opportunity to really see them through and actually do something with those ideas. And I think that's a really important thing. If you're motivated to do something, if you want to write a book of poetry, you go and do it. Which is amazing that you did that.
Thank you.
Right? It's that same kind of principle. So you got to put in the work to find the successes afterwards. So yeah, I've always really liked that phrase. Success only comes before work in the dictionary. I think that's a really good statement, and I think it does kind of summarize the way that I approach things in my life as well.
That is beautiful, as always. I always love hearing that from you and reminding me of that. So thank you so much. And thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm sure you can guest again at some point and we can have like the state of Justin and his technology, and probably at that time Tesseract would be an installation already. Let's just pull the universe back.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fast forward.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's so nice to catch up with you.
Well, thanks.
I'll see you again for a drink.
Absolutely, Wish. Thank you.
From this episode, one of the most important words about life is indefatigable. It is defined as persisting tirelessly. It's similar to words untiring, unrelenting, indomitable, persistent, tenacious, single-minded, dogged, industrious. Claude Monet, a French painter and the founder of Impressionist painting, quoted, "What is it that's taken hold of me for me to carry on like this in relentless pursuit of something beyond my powers?" In life, we have a lot of goals and ambitions. Instead of cowering down and fearing to face what we wanted to do, you just needed to try, one step at a time. You don't need a grand gesture to just go for it. You just need to take these little steps. Put your ideas on paper or talk to someone about it. There's nothing really that you will lose when you try. The paths are not straight all the time, so you'd rather explore that and find something where success lies for you. I hope you love eavesdropping. You should start thinking about your synonyms. What are they? Thank you for listening to Human Thesaurus Podcast. Please rate and subscribe. Your support means a great deal. Join me again next week for another episode. I'm your host, Wish Ronquillo Peacock. Have a fantastic day and thanks for listening.